And we're live. Okay. Welcome, my friends and gems. Welcome, Carol, my beautiful co-host in Yelm, Washington. It's another beautiful day that ends in Y here in Southern California for me and in Yelm, Washington for you.
Where we have colder weather and rain. So,
So, yeah, it's not bright and sunny today. It is very cloudy. It's still beautiful, but cloudy
yeah,
and instead. So today we're going to launch off with this broadcast. We are going to talk about, of course, we're going to talk about cell activation, but I'm going to talk about how you can burn 300 calories in just 3 seconds. Now,
ooh,
people are going, how is it possible to burn 300 calories in 3 seconds? You can barely lift a finger. And yeah, that's right. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you're going, I really want to see her pull this off. How is this going to be? Well, I'll tell you, it's very simple. All I have to do for those of you who have a timer, if you want to time it, maybe it'll take a little more than 3 seconds, maybe it'll take a little less, but all I have to do is this. These two, I put tan on left, white on right, and all I do is 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, okay, 1,004, 1,005, 5 seconds. I'm burning 300 calories over the next 24 hours because I put the energy enhancer patch, the
ooh,
patch that was originally created for the Navy SEALs 24 years ago. And the research studies show that wearing this patch enhances your energy. You'll burn 300 calories a day when you wear this patch. You're going to move the energy faster in your body. I'm feeling warmer already. And it improves your heart rate variability and it regulates your lymphatic system. 300 calories just by wearing this patch. And there you go, my friends and gems. I will show tomorrow at 2 p.m. I will show the research studies that actually show conclusively, and I think the I think the trademark for this patch also shows that. I don't like reading trademark. Those to me they're too boring, but research studies are fascinating. So with that being said, we are going to talk about these patches. And actually, if you want to, Carol, I will deviate, and rather than jumping into the info Q&A, I'm going to actually pull the research study on energy enhancer, and we'll share that with our audience. What do you say to that?
that sounds wonderful.
We'll talk about that because I've had people who, I had like Annie Cottrell, a retired nurse in Australia.
I'm going to block my video off for a few moments, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you can enjoy, we'll enjoy the crowd together.
Yes, that sounds good here. So let me find the studies. And here we go. So I just need to find here on my desktop. Okay, so if I can find that study, that's patch placement. And where is the study? Because I know I have it saved here. Thought I had it queued up. I think it's going to be faster to show you guys. Okay, let's do this way, because then it'll also show you guys where to find the study so that you can access it. You can read it at every time, anytime that you choose, because obviously if I pull it from my desktop, you're not going to be able to find that. So let me go to, I will show you. Let me share my screen with you. Share screen, and we will go to, so I'm going to go ahead. And if you go here to the URL, startx39now.com. That's our educational site. There's nothing for you to buy here. It's just purely education. If you scroll towards the bottom, you'll see here we have 90 clinical studies. Click on that, and we're going to go to energy enhancer. How funny, I don't see that here. Carnosine glutathione. Oh, here are all the, here we go. Energy enhancer. So I read all of these, but it's been over a year, so I don't remember which one was. Let's read the first one. Let's see if that's. So we're going to share this with you. Okay. So here it talks about the effect of this nanoscale, organic nanoscale, or nanotechnology that is using traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture points, and photobiomodulation. So this study is talking about how these patches on a spectral and nonlinear dynamic features of heart rate variability. As I mentioned before, this patch increases your heart rate variability, and it signals in healthy individuals during your rest and your exercise. So the abstract goes on to say here that these patches are novel nanoscale semiconducting biomolecular antennas. That's how it's describing these patches, that when placed in oscillating bioelectromagnetic field of the body, which is anywhere on the body, by the way. In this case, we have it on the pericardium acupuncture point, just 3 finger widths below this wrist. You can also put it below your clavicle. But it says here that they resonate at frequencies in unison with certain biomolecules. That means biological molecules, okay, in the cells, and signal specific metabolic pathways to accelerate, there it is, my friends and gems, fat metabolism. And you'll see where it says later that it burns 300 calories a day. As a consequence of accelerated fat burning, more cellular energy becomes readily available to support all bodily energy consuming functions. Okay, pause button here. So when I first got started on the patches, I did not want to lose weight. I was underweight. I needed to gain weight because I was about 10, 11 pounds below weight. And I tried everything to gain the weight, kind of a miserable type of situation. But the patches are designed to bring you into balance. So I got to have my cake and eat it too, because not only did I bring my body into balance, repair, restore, and regenerate all sorts of things, I put the energy enhancer patches knowing that it burns 300 calories. I didn't really have an extra 300 calories to burn. However, because my goal and objective was to get back to normal weight, and one of the things that I didn't have prior to the patches was cleavage, but these are master smart cells are so brilliant that it puts you back into not just a balanced state, but you're more of who you are supposed to be, because it's you from conception. That original blueprint is what's acted upon. So not only did I gain the weight, I gained back the weight. I'm still weighing 103 pounds, 102, 103, sometimes 104, but pretty much 103 is my normal weight. But there's a redistribution in how I weigh. So I have cleavage now that I didn't have before, which is so awesome. So let's go on to read the rest of this abstract. Heart rate variability refers to the beat-to-beat variation in heart rate and is modulated largely by your autonomic nervous system, also known as your ANS. Some people call it the automatic, but that's inappropriate. The term is autonomic nervous system, which basically means that it's involuntary. Via changes in the balance between your parasympathetic and your sympathetic influences. What is that? Sympathetic nervous system is during the daytime hours when you're awake and alert from sunrise to sunset. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. That's your calm, relaxed state of being from sunset to sunrise typically. Since short-term variations in heart rate reflect sympathetic, awake, daytime nervous activity, they provide useful non-invasive markers for assessing autonomic control under various physiological states and conditions. So to evaluate the effect of these energy patches on heart rate variability signals, pilot data from healthy volunteers were collected under 3 different conditions during rest and exercise using a biopack system. You can Google what a BioPAC system is. The HRV, which is heart rate variability signal, was derived from pre-processed ECG signals using an enhanced Hilbert transform algorithm. You can Google that too, with built-in missing beat detection capability for reliable QRS detection. So auto-regressive AR modeling of the heart rate variability HRV signal power spectrum was achieved, and different parameters from power spectrum as well as approximate entropy were calculated for comparison. So point care plots were then used as a visualization tool to highlight the variations in heart rate variability, HRV, signals before and after exercise under normal conditions and under the influence of placebos, because they're always double-blind controlled studies, independent research studies where we have our subjects, and then we have our placebos, right, that are receiving, so that you can compare and contrast the before and after and what the actual effects are. So in this paper, for the first time, we present the spectral features and approximate entropy of the HRV signals in healthy individuals during rest, exercise with placebo, and with energy patches, so the 2 points of contrast. The results demonstrate that these energy patches have significant and clearly distinguishable effects on these important heart rate variability signal features. These exciting results warrant comprehensive investigations to study the effects of these energy patches under different physical and health conditions in a large number of subjects in different age groups. So that's the synopsis, the summary of this paper. This was the first of the papers that were done. This is like a 20-year-old study. Actually, this was done in 2014. We have, as you can see from some of our other, I can show you our other research study, because this is the first one. This is here where it's talking about the effects of energy enhancer patches on the cortisol. Cortisol, of course, increases your heart rate, your pulse, your respiration rate. Your adrenals release the cortisol, which is your fight or flight chemistry that's released in the body so that you can respond with increased energy to whatever emergency is before you. If you have to fight, flee, or, get out of town. And if you don't use it, then it turns into C-reactive protein in your body. And too much of that really brings the body down. It kind of wears you out. It's not a good thing. The patches luckily reduce your cortisol and C-reactive protein so that you feel better. This particular study, which we're going to look at next, talks about the physiological measures. And let's see what this one says. So the abstract, it talks about the energy enhancer patches. Let's say on the skin produce some changes that are consistent with increased energy production, but little is known about their effects on cortisol concentrations or the peripheral circulation. Peripheral has to do with your arms and your legs. So objective, the study intended to assess the effects of these patches on salivary cortisol. So they're measuring the cortisol levels through people spitting into a vial and a pipette, and then they measure that. Peripheral circulation and psychological measures on healthy adults. They talked about how it's all of our studies, all 90 that are done in the United States, Europe, and Asia, are all double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized pilot studies that are performed. Good thing to point out, because that's very important in the medical and the scientific community. There were 20 healthy individuals with no chronic conditions that were recruited, 5 males and 15 females, aged 30 to 69 years of age. Excuse me, got a little bug there. So let me see if we can give you the results of this study. Was that after the first patch application, so for example, I put these patches on a little bit earlier today on camera, and after the first patch application, the active group showed significantly higher cortisol concentrations than the placebo effect, both at noon, and it shows there the numbers respectively, and at 4 p.m., which is basically 4 hours later. And it says no consistent changes occurred in perfusion. The EVAS score was decreased significantly compared with the baseline in the placebo group, but not in the active group. So the conclusion is that the cortisol concentrations and EVAS scores showed significant differences between the groups, which is consistent with the patches increasing energy production, warranting further testing. I don't know if this is the one. Yeah, I don't think this is the one that that talks about the 300 calories being burned. We'll go on to the third one really quickly, since we've got the time. I think this is the one, actually. So here we go. This report was done by Dr. Clark, and it says that no adverse events. Again, when you're activating your own body's mitochondria, your own body's original master smart cells, then of course there's no counteraction because it's more of you is being turned on. So it's like taking your blood and re-injecting your own blood. That's not going to harm you, right? So in this study, abnormal asymmetrical infrared measurements were observed. Okay, so instead of getting into the instructions and the procedures, the thing to note is that there were 36 subjects, 22 to 72 years of age. And then and of course, it's a double-blind placebo with, two groups, the control and then the subjects. Efficacy of the patches. So it says here, the response of the body by placing the patches in the region of hyperthermic state. Hyperthermic, that means that it's more warm, as measured by the infrared imaging, proved a cooling response to the skin temperature, readings both locally and distal from the site of application. So what that is saying in basic English is that when they measured the skin, there's like a bioelectric skin conductance device that you can use to measure the temperature, not a thermometer. This is like, it actually has like a little probe. And then you just touch the surface of the skin, and then it tells you the temperature, and the volts is basically the joules of energy that's going through that part that you're probing with your probe. And it tells you what the response of the skin is as you're doing whatever testing. So this one is showing that the moment they put the energy enhancer, it's kind of counterintuitive because you're increasing the energy, yet this infrared imaging and that probing is showing that the cooling response to the skin were both locally where the patch was placed and then distally from the place of application. So that means the tips of the finger, farther up the arm, there's a cooling effect. This is a valuable correlation, basically, when understanding the measured response of the patches is proof that the patches emit some form of energy to the body, causing a hyperthermic region to cool. Fascinating, isn't it? This can only be explained by the patches emitting a form of energy that influenced your ANS, your autonomic nervous system, through the subcutaneous, which is below the skin, the vascular beds, because you have a macrocirculatory system, which are your bigger arteries and things like that. And then you have your veins and your vessels, which are your microcirculatory system. So it talks about the difference in temperature here, pre-patched, and it's giving it in centigrade, so 32.239 centigrade. And the average thermal temperature post-patch was 30.756. So it's about a 1.5 degrees Celsius swaying towards the cooler. And let's see what else. Let's see, I think, is this the one? I'm going to eyeball here to see. This is showing you the actual thermography. So it's showing you how prior to patching, you could see all the red, which is not just heat. There might be a little bit of inflammation in this particular subject. It's letting you know what the status is just visually. You could see that the arms are significantly cooler, but the reddest spots are in these sections right here. You can see that shortly after wearing the patch, you see a dramatic difference. It's like, wow, almost, not all, but almost all of the red is gone. And you could see how this whole red area, look at the dramatic change here. The same thing here with this person, you see, like that's a super hot point, that dark purple there. You could see how this person went from this before to this after. Again, this woman, and this is, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is the back of a man. This is the front part of a woman. And okay, so we've talked about that. Let me see if I can find where it talks about and it talks about here, a greater than 80% favorable response rate was observed by the individuals in the study. Again, that was like 22 to 7-year-olds. The study offered one of the first measurements of physiological changes. Those were the results. So here it talks about how this had a positive effect. There's another report that was done here. Let's see if this is the one. This is the pericardium 6-point, by the way, that I keep on talking about. Let me see if this study, if this is the one that talks about the 300 calories. Wasn't really prepared to share this with you, but sometimes just following your intuitive hit is, I oftentimes find, to be very beneficial. This is a 4th study in this paper. And all these studies are showing the efficacy of the patches in the study, the the assessments like here. And reports 2, 3, and 4 demonstrate that these patches have an effect on the autonomic nervous system. There's more evidence that these patches are able to modify your physiological process. These studies also support the findings of the infrared study, which show a physiological modification of your heat energy distribution in the body by cooling hyper hot spots of the body, in essence, wherever you have inflammation. This is by Dr. Schallenberger. Let's see if I can find. I will have to pull up. Shows here, it tells you the percentages of the different measurements here. And again, you guys can go to startx39now.com. You can read it for yourself. There were 60 people ages 18 to 65 in this particular study. So I will have to pull up where the study shows, because again, we have multiple studies. But the bottom line is, yes, my friends and gems, maybe I can show you also a picture. There's a bunch of, but I can show you my Stacy's picture before and after, just going through quickly here. In fact, if I do a Control F, if I just go, it's not in this paper. Okay. So let me show you really quickly. I'm going to show you, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to show you from my phone. Hopefully I can find this fast. Well, so here's someone who we had on the patches, and you can clearly see how she had a reduction in weight. She went down 4.5 pounds and 8.5 inches. She had a lot of fluid retention. But let me show you somebody else. This is who I really wanted to show you. And she's been here we go. Oh, here we go. So here she is. Now she's been on the patches 2 years. And on the left, this is what she looked like. She was 48 years old at the time. On the left here, 48 years old. And 2 years later, after wearing these patches, you can see how she has had, and now she's actually biologically 25 years old, even though she's 50 now. But biologically, her biomarkers, we had her biomarkers tested, and they show that she's barely 25 years old. And she sounds much younger too now. Every time I see her, she's shrinking. So that is just kind of giving you an idea. In fact, I think I have pictures of her and I recently, which, let me see if I can find those, because February 24th, we were in Florida. I'm seeing her actually next month. Actually, here she is again. That's her and me. Stacy, Dr. Stacy. All right. Okay, my friends and gems. So that is basically it. We're here getting close to the 2:30 hour. For those of you who want to see more of the information question and answer session, look at my previous episode here on YouTube at Love and Money Secrets TV. You can get the lowdown about this incredible life-saving technology. It's cell activation at its best, the most powerful device on the planet. Comes in this little envelope. It's a special cardboard envelope that is designed to protect the patches from light, because this is what patches look like. You see the little crystal lattice? And if I can figure out a way, I'm going to have to see how people, I have my microscope upstairs on my desk. If I could figure out a way how I could film, because I can't really take a microscope and put it up here to the camera so that you could see in it. So I'll have to see how is it that people do that. They're able to record, because I've got Canon cameras. I've got my cell phone, of course, and I can look through the eyepiece, and I would love to show you guys, that lattice. But I haven't figured out a way to do that. I'm so busy. I don't have a lot of free time, but I do spend a majority of my time helping people like you with families like yours. So I want to have a call to action and invite you guys. Tell me where you are watching this video from. I would love, absolutely adore to learn where it is that you're watching this from, whether it's in the US, Canada, Mexico, Asia, Europe, the UK, London, Scotland, Ireland, Dubai, Bahrain. I just had people that got started in Bahrain and the Kingdom of Bahrain and Dubai and someone in Portugal. So you guys, thank you very much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Carol, thank you for tuning in, tapping in, turning on. I hope to have that study that shows where the 300 calories were burned. I'll have to scour through and find that. I've got to run off. I have to get to the South Bay. Help at the Ghali Center in LA, Regenerative Medicine Center, where Dr. Fuad Ghali, who is one of my business partners, and we help a lot of people from all over the world get their cells activated to unring the bell of damage. Or if you are healthy and you just need to get into better shape, or you want more strength and stamina, we have a lot of peak performance athletes that get on these patches, not because they're unhealthy, but because they're always wanting to have that leading edge optimization, get the most and best out of their body, repair and restore. True thing. One of the phenomena that we see both, not just with athletes, but with people like you and myself, when we go to do our workouts, like Carol, she was not sore the next day. Just last week, when she walked 10 miles that she never intended to walk, she just went out for a stroll, and then she ended up walking 10 miles. Can you imagine that? Someone who had, we're not making any medical claims, but she had AFib, and she was recovering from shingles when she just started on the patches in August. And then she decided the week before that, 2 weeks ago, she went dirt bike riding. And this is a lady in her 80s. You would think that she would have been sore the next day. She wasn't. And then she had enough strength and stamina. Just a few days ago, she went out for a walk, and she didn't even take a water bottle with her. And then before she knew it, she had walked 10 miles. I was like, oh my gosh, you walked 10 miles? And she was fine. And she didn't have sore muscles the next day. But that's because when you are on this mother cell activation patch, just this patch alone will increase your glutathione levels, which is going to help detox your body and increase your immune system. Very, very powerful. And of course, she's on this patch as well as the daughter cell activation patch and the Fantastic Five, which is glutathione, carnosine, and neon. And so guess what? You have more strength, more stamina. And I hear that all the time from people. They're like, wow, I don't get sore muscles anymore. I go, the reason why you get sore muscles is because lactic acid, when you're doing that workout, that lactic acid pools on top of your muscles, and then it just stays there. But when you're on the patches, because you have a more efficient detoxification process by not only your kidneys that get rid of the toxins through your urination, but also through your liver. So that's defecation and then perspiration, of course, because your skin is your third kidney. All right, my friends and gems, that's it for now. Share this with a friend. If you know somebody who would like to lose 300 calories, get rid of 300 calories or burn 300 calories a day, I will get a screenshot and I will put that as the thumbnail here, and I will circle it so that you can find this easily. You usually don't use a research study as a thumbnail, but I think I will do it this time just because I think it would be useful for you guys to see that up front and see how the proof is in the pudding, or actually the proof is on the paper. All right. Take care, my friends and gems. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
I will see you at 7 p.m. Pacific.